Hello everyone, James here to show you how to prepare the tax return for Basic Scenario 9 on page 56 of the test book. So here we have the interview notes for our taxpayer Irene. She's 33 years old. Her husband Joel passed away in 2022 and she has not remarried. She has a 10-year-old daughter Penny who she supported all year. We also know that Irene took an early distribution from her IRA account to pay for a family vacation. She will be penalized for that. Irene was a full-time art teacher who paid for some classroom supplies out of pocket. The total was $350. She is also paying back her student loan and had some interest from that. She won some money at the local casino and received a W-2G. And finally, Irene paid for daycare for Penny. So we will address all of those issues. Let's look at the tax forms that Irene received here. We have her W-2 from her job at the school district. We have her W-2G from the casino. We have her Form 1099-R from Spring Federal Credit Union for the early distribution. We have Form 1098-E from her student loan servicer, Maggie May. And finally, we have a statement from the Kitty Cloud Daycare for the $4,000 that Irene paid for Penny's care. Also, we have a voided check we will use to put in her bank info for direct deposit. So let's go into the Tax Lawyer Practice Lab. And the gateway password, if you don't know it by now, is TrainProWeb, all caps, followed by your individual username and password. So let's go to the practice area. And the first time you do this, you're going to start a new 2024 tax return. I already did this return, so I'm going to go in and pull it up. And we'll take a look at some of the sections in the return here. So the first thing that you will have to do when you start this return is determine the filing status. That is one of the questions at the end, so I'm going to let you figure that out. You can use the filing status decision tree in the 4012 on page B13 to help you figure out the filing status. So after you get all of Irene's personal information in, you will enter Penny's information. So you'll have to enter her name, date of birth, social security number, whether or not she's a U.S. citizen, her relationship, and the number of months she lived in the household. That's everything that you'll have to enter for Penny on this return. Then when you continue on, it will take you to the income screen, and we have to enter her W-2, which is the first item on the income screen, and then we'll have to enter her gambling winnings, which goes under other income, which is the last item on the income screen. And also her early distribution, which is the fourth item down here, Form 1099-R. So just remember, when you're entering all of the data from these forms, to enter everything exactly the way you see it. On the W-2, you'll enter the employer ID number and the employer information. And always make sure that the numbers in boxes 1 through 6 match exactly what's on the W-2. And here we don't have anything in box 12, but we do have the retirement plan box checked off in box 13 here. And that is everything. I won't be showing you the state return today because the state module in the practice lab is turned off at the moment. They are updating it. But remember to enter the state income tax withholding and the wages and the employer ID number down at the bottom. And when we continue on, we can go to the 1099-R. And once again, we're going to enter all the numbers on the 1099-R exactly the way they appear. We know that the taxable amount of the distribution is the same as the amount in box 1, the gross distribution. We will enter the payer's ID number and name over here on the left. In box 4, there was federal income tax withheld of $1,800. Box 7, the distribution code is a 1, which means early distribution. And the IRA box was checked. And I believe that's everything we need to enter for the 1099-R. It's going to ask you what type of plan was this. This was a retirement plan. We'll check that box and continue. It's going to ask you, did you make an early distribution or early withdrawal because of a qualified disaster? The answer here is no. Continuing on, we have one more item, the W-2G for her gambling winnings. We'll go under other income. It's the second item down. It says less common income. So we just need to go in and enter the information off that W-2G exactly the way you see it on the form, the payer ID number, the payer address. We know that she won $3,600. She had $600 in federal withholding. She won this playing slots, and we know the date that she won it, February 24th. Once you have that information in there, you can just continue on. And the next thing we have to do is we have some deductions we need to enter. We have her educator expenses for her classroom supplies. We have her child care credit. We have her student loan interest. So let's start at the top here on the deduction screen and go into adjustments. And the second item down, educator expenses. This is where we enter her $300. That's the most we're allowed to enter here, even though she has $350. And if we continue on, we can put her student loan interest from her 1098E. We can put that in down here, her $700 that she paid in student loan interest. So those are the two adjustments. Next, we need to go into, under deductions, we need to go down to credits and enter her dependent care expenses. That's the second item down under credits. And we will put in everything we see on that statement from Kitty Cloud Daycare, the employer ID number. And when we click continue, it'll ask us for the amount that we paid for the year and who was it for. It was for Penny, so we'll check that box. And continue on. There are 3 questions related to the child and dependent care expenses. The first one, did you receive any of these benefits from your employer that are not reported on your W-2? That is a no. Second question, were you or your spouse unable to work due to being disabled or being a full-time student? That is a no. And the third question, did you pay any expenses for last year in 2024? That answer is a no. So we continue on. And that is everything that we need to enter under deductions. If you clicking the continue button, the next item that we need to address here is the health insurance question. So on the intake form, this question, did you, your spouse, or dependent have insurance under the Affordable Care Act? This is reported on Form 1095A. In this case, she did not have this insurance, so we just click no and continue. We can't do the state return today, so we'll just continue on, which takes us to the tax return summary. Before I print the return, I'm going to continue on here, and we're going to put in the bank info, which is on the e-file screen. So she wants her refund, her federal and state refunds, direct deposited. So we can enter that information. When we get to this screen, we're going to choose that we would like to e-file the return with direct deposit. And then on the next screen, we can put in her bank account, routing number, and bank account number, and the amount of her refund. If you click the pull refund button, it will fill that in. Okay, so that's everything we need to enter for this return. The last thing you'll need to do is answer the questions at the end, questions 25 through 30. In order to do that, you'll need to print the PDF of the return. So if you go to the tax return summary and click View Print Return at the top, it will generate a PDF of the tax return. And when that comes up on the screen, you can just scroll through it to find the answers to the questions. But before you submit those answers on Lincoln Learn, I would head over to vitaresources.net and go to the study guides page and scroll down to this check your answers on the basic and advanced tax exams. So if you just go into basic, it will bring up a Google form, and you can just scroll down and put in your answers for that scenario. Just go in here and answer questions 25 through 30. And scroll to the bottom, click Submit, then click View Score, and it will tell you which questions you got right and which questions that you got wrong, and will also give you some hints. If you missed some of those questions, it'll tell you where to look in the 4012 so that you can go back and fix those answers. So that is everything for Scenario 9. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.